Hey, it's Deborah Poneman, founder of Yes to Success Seminars, where we share knowledge and tools for you to live your ultimate life and ageless. Anti-aging for your brain, your body, and your future. I've had a lot of interviews where people have asked me questions about women and power. In fact, one of the questions that interviewers ask me a lot is, as women, how do we take our power back? Well, first of all, I'm not sure we ever had the power in the first place, so I'm not sure we're taking it back. But I do have a few thoughts about how we can be more powerful. But guess what? As I was thinking about this topic and thinking of things that I could share, I realized that what I'm about to share really applies to both men and women pretty much equally. In fact, about 10 years ago, I read an article in Forbes that I loved. I've loved to refer to it ever since. In the article was listed ways that women can stop being so complacent and accommodating and start growing in power. The article said that if we did these certain things, it would make a big difference in the way we're perceived, especially in the workplace. And one thing that was suggested was to use more powerful language. And the first suggestion that was made in this article is to just get rid of the word just. And I remember thinking, really? We just get rid of the word just? But it works. So here's an example. What we usually say is, "Oh, I'm just checking in to see how everything's going," or "Oh, I just wanted you to know that," or I just called because." And in this article, it suggested that we listen to ourselves for about a week, and when we're about to say the word just don't. So instead of, "Oh, I'm just checking in to see," you say, "I'm checking in to see." Or, "I just wanted you to know, I wanted you to know." Or, "I just called because, I called because." Can you feel the energetic difference? It's subtle, but it is so profound. And it really changes the whole energy of what you're saying or asking. I remember taking the 1 week challenge, which was to notice for 1 week how often you say just and don't say it. And I was astounded to notice that I hardly spoke a declarative sentence without the word just at the beginning. And it was scary for me to consciously eliminate it, but I did. They went on in the article to suggest that we replace weak words with stronger ones to again change the power of our overall communication. So, for example, if instead of saying things like, "I think" or "I believe," we should opt for stronger words like, "I'm confident that." It's a good one. Or instead of, "I feel like what could happen," we might want to say, "I expect what will happen." These simple replacements, "I'm confident what will happen," or "I expect what will happen," can really make a difference in how our message is perceived and how we're perceived. I mean, we don't want to become bullies or right at all costs. So we're not like, I mean, I know what could happen because we don't, you don't say, "I know what will happen," because you don't know what will happen. So I'm not saying you act like the boss and the devil wears Prada, but you also might want to stop wimping around. And another thing many people do that tends to weaken our energy of being powerful is to constantly apologize when it's so not necessary. I think women do this one a lot more than men, and it's not very attractive when they do. Saying you're sorry constantly and unnecessarily puts you in a weak, even kind of subservient position. "Oh, I'm so sorry I interrupted. Oh, I'm sorry I shouldn't have asked you that. I'm sorry. Is that not what you said? I'm sorry that I'm sorry." Watch when you apologize and just eliminate the phrase pretty much entirely. I mean, unless it's truly warranted and you want to make an apology, and just leave out, "I'm sorry." So instead it would be, "I think I missed what you said," or, "Oh, I interrupted. Go ahead." One more way we can be more powerful, many of us in the workplace especially have experienced this. It's letting people take credit for your ideas. You bring up a point in a meeting and nobody seems to hear you. And later, somebody else repeats your thought and people applaud the great idea. When you stay silent and let other people take credit for your ideas, you're giving your power away. I say, take your credit. Here's one way you might want to do it. You can simply say, thank you, John, for bringing up that idea that I proposed earlier. And of course, there is nothing you could do to feel more powerful than to use the word no. When you say no to something that doesn't feel totally right for you, you're really not saying no at all. You're actually saying yes. You're saying yes to yourself, to your needs instead of the needs of somebody else, and to your time. And by the way, when you take care of your deepest needs in the long run, ultimately, everyone will get taken care of even better, most likely. When we don't say no, it's only because we want approval, when we want people to like us, or we don't want to seem selfish. But that behavior comes at the expense of our own health, happiness, and relationships. I've always believed that when you do what's best for yourself, when you act in alignment with your own real truth, the way the universe works is that you're then also serving the highest good of the other person. When you say yes, when you really want to say no, you're probably going to end up feeling some degree of subtle resentment about doing whatever it is you've just agreed to do. You'll feel resentment actually towards the other person, even though you're the one who said yes and you didn't have to. It was your choice. So if the thought of saying no really makes you uncomfortable, here are a couple of baby steps that you can take. So start with little things. This one, my dear friend and co-founder of Your Year of Miracles, Marcy Shimoff, suggests as a starter. When you walk through the department store and the perfume demonstrator asks you if you'd like a little spritz, or that very chirpy woman asks you if you'd like to try the new eye cream and watch your wrinkles disappear, in a very nice way, you can say, no, thank you. I'm sure it's lovely scent, or I'm sure it works very well, but not today. Do you think you can give that one a try? Another baby step you could take is if somebody calls you, like a telemarketer or someone asking for a donation to a cause or a political call, instead of being rude like they expect you to be, because that's like what 99% of the people, how they treat those people, instead say something like, I'm really not interested right now, and I would like you to take me off your list, but it sounds like a really good cause, and I wish you a lot of success tonight. Marcy and I both love with this one. I mean, they won't believe you just said something so nice while you're saying no. And usually they'll say something back like, wow, thanks. That's the nicest thing anyone said to me all night. You said no, and you made their day. You're probably one of the only people who are kind to them. So you'll end up feeling great too. And more each empowered each time you say a nice no. I call it saying no with a yes attitude. So here's a little project that you could take on between now and the next time we're together. And that is to say no for the whole week. Okay. Just, if somebody asks you to do something, I mean, if you generally want to do it, say yes. But if you don't, say no for the whole week. There might be a feeling of contraction at the moment, but just breathe into it and notice how empowered you feel on the other side. And here's a way to make it easier. Those of you who have like a knee-jerk reaction and you say yes spontaneously, next time you're about to say your spontaneous yes, remember that you're allowed to pause. Just take a pause. Pause, take a breath, give yourself a couple moments to think about it before you respond, and ask yourself if it's really a full-bodied yes. Remind yourself that time is not a renewable resource, and if you say yes, following through would mean giving up your time. That's what you want to do with your time, fine. Just know that the world is not going to fall apart if you say no. And then give your genuine answer. And if you're not sure, you can always say, I'm not sure that will work for me, but I'd like to take some time to think about it. Can I get back to you tomorrow? And I want to end today with a little story about Warren Buffett and saying no. Marcy and I have a friend who had lunch with him, and this was a couple years ago. And our friend asked him right out, "What do you think is the key to your extraordinary success?" And you know what he said? He said, "Oh, that's easy. The key is that I say no to 99.99% of the things that come my way." He's also been quoted as saying the difference between successful people and really successful people is that the really successful people say no to almost everything. So look inside your heart, say no to the things that are a no, use more powerful language, stop apologizing, don't forget to take credit when you deserve it, and let me know in the comments how it goes and how much more powerful you feel. And if you have any other ways we can empower ourselves, please share them and have a great week. Bye for now.